Well, first off, I want to say thank you for coming out. I mean, this is awesome, dude. This is sick. But I wanted to get up here and I wanted to speak on three things. First off, I wanted to tell you a little bit about who I am and a conversation that I had Friday. Second, I want to tell you why I wanted to create this. And third, I want to tell you what I want to do with this moving forward. So, a little bit about me. I'm Clayton Nelson, for y'all that don't know me. I grew up in Peachtree City, moved to Buford, went to high school in Buford. So, ever since I was little, ever since I can remember, all I wanted to do was be a college football player. That's all I wanted to do. When people would ask me, like, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, my answer was, I want to be a college football player. I had no plans after that. So my dad moved my family from Peachtree City to Buford so I could play at the highest level of high school football. So my senior year, I committed to go to play football at Kennesaw State. And my time at Kennesaw State was awesome. Now, it didn't really shake out the way I wanted it to go. Now, I battled some injuries, and just quite frankly, I didn't get the playing time that I wanted to. It just didn't shake out the way I wanted to. But the experience was awesome, and I created some relationships that are going to last me a lifetime, and some of them are here tonight, which is fucking sick. So my senior year, we had a couple weeks left into the season, and I knew my days were numbered of being a college football player. And I was kind of excited because I was ready for this chapter of my life to close because I was really excited about this new chapter of my life that was about to open for me. And I was excited because I was about to have, with this new chapter of my life, came with a lot of free time that I'm not used to, that I've never had before in my life. So it was something I had to get used to. But the best way I can explain the situation for me was I was in a relationship for 15 years, and it felt like I was single for the first time in a long time. Is how it felt when I was done with football. So those first couple of months when I was done with football, man, I hit the travel button. I think I went to Europe twice. I traveled all through America. It was awesome. It was nonstop fun. But I had 3 more classes I had to take. So I had to go back and take another semester before I graduated. So I got back home that summer, spent like a couple days at the lake, and then went down and lived back in Kennesaw with my roommates and had to take 3 more classes. And this is when I started to notice this void that was growing in me. And there was this void that was growing in me because I didn't have a community anymore. Like, I didn't have a team anymore. So for the past 15 years, like every day I had like 100 guys, 100 of my best friends that I would see every single day. I had a team. And I got that stripped away from me. And I didn't realize how much that affected me until I got back and I had all this free time and I didn't see all my friends. And that fucked with me mentally. And I knew I wasn't the only one either. I knew I wasn't the only one because I would talk to my friends. And I would talk to my friends that just got done with college and left that community and they were starting this job and they're throwing 10, 12 hours a day working at this job because they want to be successful. They want their career to be successful. But they work so hard at this job that they forget to get tapped into community. And maybe one day, a Saturday, they'll go out and drink with their friends, but they're saying, this is not what life is supposed to be like. Like, I'm working so hard at this job and I have an opportunity to make a lot of money, but like, what's it worth if I can only celebrate it on the weekends? And I'm talking to my friends that just got done playing football. And they were the same thing with me. When you have 100 guys depending on you and you get that stripped away, that fucks with you mentally. So I knew I wasn't the only one. And I kept having these conversations with my friends. And that's when I decided to start the podcast because I knew if these conversations can help me, it can help other people. And that's when I started the podcast. And when I started this podcast, it was the first time since football, since I was young at football, that I realized like I kind of got my self-identity back. I kind of got my self-confidence back. I realized that there is more to life than just like work. Because it's hard to find that community, hard to have those conversations. And I finally found something that lit me on fire again. I felt alive again. And I realized like, damn, like I want to do this the rest of my life, but I don't know how. But I wanted to do this for the rest of my life, and that's the only thing that I know. So I checked my bank account to buy all this equipment, and I was like, oh shit, I'm fucking broke, so I need to get a job. So I got a job working for my dad and his business partner selling sporting goods. It's this job that I still work now, and it's really fun. So I went from having a whole lot of free time to now having to juggle school, work, and podcasting. And I really like podcasting. So during the week, like those first couple of months I started this thing, I stopped going out, I stopped drinking because the only time I could do the podcast was during the weekend because during the week I had school and work. I had no time. So during the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, man, I was either recording podcasts, editing podcasts, learning how to grow this podcast. I spent Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So when I got done with school, when I graduated with school, I was like, all right, sweet, now I got some more time. Now I have to balance work and podcast. And instead of cutting that half in time and allotting the time equally to more work and podcast, I kind of dove in more onto the podcast because it's what made me feel alive. I felt comfortable doing that. It's something I felt just called to do. And the more that I did it, the more that I liked it. And the more that I liked it, the more that I got better at it. And the more that I got better at it, the more engagement I got. People would hit me up that I haven't talked to in years saying, hey man, like this is awesome, like keep doing this. And that shit made me feel good. Like that shit made me feel good when people I haven't talked to in years reach out and be like, hey, I listened to this podcast, I love what you had to say. So, my dad is my boss. And he started to notice that the job that he has provided me, which I'm very thankful for, was not at the top of my priority list. And this is the conversation I want to tell you about that happened last Friday. So this conversation was a father to son conversation, and it was an employer to employee conversation. And this was a really good conversation. This is a conversation that needed to happen. And he was expressing his concern to me about this path that I'm going down now. He doesn't want to see me fail. Like, I understand where he's coming from. He doesn't want to see me fail. He doesn't want to see me get burned or cut down by somebody that we can't control on this path. Because he doesn't understand this path that I'm going down, of this podcasting, this YouTube, these events like this life coach. He doesn't understand that. He didn't come from that. And I don't expect him to. And to be quite honest with you, I don't really know what I'm getting into. I don't know honestly, I really don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't really know this path that I'm going down. I just know that I'm excited to go down. So I understand my dad expressing his concerns to me. And he asked the question, he said, it's like, Clayton, I know that you like doing this. I can tell. But can you make a living off of this? Like, is this sustainable? Like, how can you make money off of this? Is this sustainable, or is this just a phase for you? And I sat there for about 30 seconds, trying to digest that question and give him a good answer. And this is what I said. I said, Dad, it's probably going to sound crazy, but I'm going to be one of the best public speakers and podcasters of our generation.
Hell yeah, brother. Let's go, boy.
I said, if I was for real, I was like, Dad, I'm going to be one of the best public speakers and podcasters of this generation. Now, I don't know how long that's going to take me. I have no timeline. I can't tell you how long that's going to take me. It could be this weekend. It can be in 3 weeks. It can be in 3 months. It can be in 3 years. I don't know how long it's going to take me. The only thing that I know is I'm going to do it. And I don't know how long it's going to take me, but I know I'm going to do it. And the reason I know I'm going to do it is because I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep showing up until it happens. I mean, guys, I'm living on their couch right now. I'm sleeping on their couch every night. I don't have a room. Half of my truck is my closet right now. I'm not making this up. Half of my truck is my closet right now. I'm broke. I don't have much money. I don't have much money at all. And I just told you that I'm going to be one of the best public speakers and podcasters of our generation. And you want to know why I believe that shit? Do you want to know why I believe that statement? Because I'm going to talk about times like these when I'm older. Like, when I'm older, I'm going to talk about moments like this tonight. I'm going to talk about this shit. And it doesn't really matter, if you're in a shitty chapter of your book right now. It doesn't matter if you're in a shitty chapter of your book. Because as long as you know where you're going, as long as you know how that book ends, it doesn't matter if you're in a shitty chapter right now, because you know there's better chapters coming. As long as you know where you're going, and as long as you know how that book ends, it doesn't matter what chapter you're in, you know that there's going to be better chapters. And the second thing I want to talk about, why did I want to create this group? Why did I want to create this group? So I thought to myself, okay, I do want to become one of the best public speakers and podcasters of our generation. How can I do that? How can I actually attain that? And this is the answer that I came up with. Surrounding myself with people like you. Surrounding myself with motherfuckers like you. I'm only as good as the people that pour into my life. I am only as good as the people that pour into my life. And that's probably the reason you're here tonight. It is hard to be around like-minded people. It is hard to be around people on the same mission as you. It's not easy to be around people like this. And that's probably why you're here. And it takes a brave person to sacrifice time and effort to show up on a Thursday night and not really know me, but still come here because you want to be around like-minded people. That says a lot about you too. Third thing, what do I want from this group moving forward? And it is very simple. I want to grow. I want to grow the relationships in this room, and I want to grow the impact that this room can have. And you know what pisses me off? You know what makes me mad? People don't respect Atlanta. Like, people outside of this city do not respect us. This weekend, I was in Austin, Texas for a marathon, and I chose to run the marathon in Austin, Texas this weekend because I wanted to experience the city. I wanted to understand, why are so many young entrepreneurs moving to Austin, Texas? Like, what's so good about this city? And I'm not gonna lie, it was awesome. It was a great experience. And I met this cool group of young entrepreneurs, and they all just moved to Austin, Texas, and we're getting there. We're talking, making small talk, telling each other what we got going on and where we're from. And all of those guys just moved to Austin. I was the only guy that wasn't from Austin or lives there. And gave a little spiel about who I am, what I got going on, and I tell them I'm from Atlanta. And one of the guys in the group says, "Damn, dude, you should just move to Austin. Everything's going on in Austin. There's really not nothing going on in Atlanta." Or he said, "We have a lot more going on in Austin than y'all do in Atlanta." I mean, and I didn't say anything there. I was just yeah, Austin's pretty sick. Yeah, I like it. But I thought about that comment on my way home. I thought about that comment on my plane ride home. There's not much going on in Atlanta. And you know why that pisses me off? Because they think they're fucking better than us. They think they're fucking better than us. And I'm not saying I have anything against those people in Austin. That shit was sick. What they got going on is really cool. Let me put that straight. What they got going on is really cool. But I don't like when motherfuckers think that they're better than us. I don't. And they do. And there's a reason why young entrepreneurs are moving to cities like Austin, like New York, like San Francisco, like Miami, like LA. There's reasons why young entrepreneurs, young people are moving to these cities. It's because they have groups like this in those cities. They already have established groups like this in those cities. They want to be in those environments. And you know why people aren't moving to Atlanta? You know why young entrepreneurs aren't moving to Atlanta? Because they don't believe that we can have that here. They don't believe that people in this room, they don't believe that we can offer that in Atlanta. They believe that the younger generation is not offering that in Atlanta. They think that everyone's trying to move out. That's why a lot of young entrepreneurs are not moving to Atlanta. And you want to know something else? Comparing us to all these different San Francisco, LA, Austin, Texas, these similar groups, they're not fucking better than us. They are not different than us. Anything that they can do, we can do too. Anything that they can do, we can do too. They're not better than us. They're not better than us. So this morning at Run Easy ATL, and if you don't know, Colin Beecham is the man. He's created a fucking cult in Atlanta with Run Easy ATL, dude. One of the best things I've gotten involved with in a long time. So we're there this morning, and we're running. And we're running with the guys that are in here. I had this conversation. We started talking about the state of Georgia. We started talking about the amount of talent the state has produced. I mean, it's produced some of the best athletes, the best artists, the best entrepreneurs, the best actors, actresses. The state of Georgia has produced some of the best individuals the country has ever seen. The state of Georgia has produced some of the best individuals the country has ever seen. And you want to know what else is true? I believe Atlanta is a hotbed of just untapped potential. I believe the young generation of Atlanta has the ability to change the way the world views Atlanta. The people in this room, I believe that we have the ability to change the way people view Atlanta. And all it takes is a fucking little spark. All it takes is just a little spark, and that shit can catch fire. And that's what I want to do with this group moving forward. And that's what we're going to do with this group moving forward. And that's all I have to say.